You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
Hey, what's going on, Robbie? What's up, buddy?
What is up, my man? How you doing?
Not too bad. Preston in the house already. What's going on, buddy?
Robbie,
yeah, we were having some technical difficulties with StreamYard, but luckily Jay got it all taken care of. Evil face bad.
Okay. Station dudes. We got to wrap this up quick tonight because Robbie has like a Japanese horror thing at 8:00, right?
Sounds like a Robbie problem.
It'll be 9 at your time, so.
Oh, okay.
You're good. You're good.
Lars, man, you're back, dude. We had a Spider-Man. I thought for like a minute I was gonna put we had a Spider-Man 9.8 on the air last night, last week. But you've been busy, so it didn't sell. So maybe if during one of the breaks we'll try to bring it back on. Jeff Wedding, what's going on? Ken Bird and Weird, what's up, buddy? Everybody's in the house. Thanks for joining us again. We've managed. Thanks to John Slick talking, we managed to convince Mariano to come back. Okay. I don't know if John's slipping him cash, promised to get him one of the new John Cole sandwiches, which you should. That's a sandwich.
He was paid the modern colorist's rate in the industry, $11.
Which is the cost of the sandwich.
If you talk to colorists on Twitter, they will tell you $11 is not that far off.
At some point, hey Jay, how do we get information to you? Is the only way through Slack? All right. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Can you email your picture of the John Cole special to Amy? Sure. And then request Amy to post it up on Slack. We got to show it, man. He sent me the picture over the weekend. I'm sitting there and I hadn't had lunch, and I you could do that too. And I hadn't eaten yet, and I took one look at that thing. My God, are you kidding me? It is Emma Frost, actually, my friend. And Weird. Emmy Comics, what's going on, buddy? All right, so we are back. I want to congratulate Robbie on his Dallas Cowboys going 4-1.
How about the Cowboys, man? But I want to congratulate you. Your Eagles, the only undefeated team still after 5 weeks.
It was an ugly win. It was an ugly win, but I think we needed an ugly win to kind of, because it's a long season. But however, now you guys I'm telling you, this is going to eventually evolve into a dilemma. I don't think if I were the Cowboys, which I'm not, and not because you guys are playing the Eagles, right? We're playing you guys next week. I would not bring Dak back, okay, for that game because obviously, he just started gripping the football. If he doesn't do well, then your QB controversy is going to go into high gear. All right, it's not like if Cooper was 0-4. I would understand, why we got to stop the bleeding. Let's get Dak back as quickly as possible. But hey, man, Cooper rushing. The Coop is winning games. Yeah. So why rush it? I gotta say, I am not a Dallas Cowboy fan, but no. I'm impressed by this kid Cooper Rush. I got to admit,
I'll tell you what, man. I don't think there's going to be a quarterback controversy.
There will be if Dak comes back and you lose.
Yes, but the thing is, when Dak comes back, what's been winning us these games is the defense. And Coop's just been able to basically not give up the game. You know what I'm saying? He's been able to handle what they're doing. When Dak comes back, we can't go back to trying to throw every play. We got to.
It's like almost every college quarterback. Some don't lose the game. We'll play defense. We'll keep the score low.
Well, I mean, I think that he doesn't have necessarily the physical gifts that you see in a Patrick Mahomes or somebody like that. But clearly, I would say Carson Wentz from a talent standpoint probably is better than Cooper, but clearly Cooper Rush from a decision-making standpoint is leaps and bounds above Carson Wentz, So I think that's one big thing. And I agree with you. The Dallas is the defense is keeping them in there. I have to shout out, I don't know if Stevie B's in the house yet. And I think Larsman said, Eagles defense is not the first defense you want Dak to see. I can understand that.
And just the pressure of the game, right? It's the Sunday night game, if I remember correctly. And it's against y'all, which is a division rival. Y'all are undefeated. We're riding this high right now. Like, I think let them sit another week. Make sure everything's cool, because I agree. I don't want the Eagles game to be the first one that they see, But it's that defense. And if the defense keeps doing what they do, I think we're pretty solid. That's one of the best defenses I've seen us have, man.
I got to tell you that one surprise in the division has to be the Giants. Okay.
Can you believe
I don't know
that?
how they're getting it done. They're making a deal with the devil every week to eke out a win. But I don't know if Stevie B's in the house. I wish that he was. If you are watching Stevie B, I got hats off to the Jets, Jets, Jets. They keep winning, man. I feel like I've walked into this alternate universe. I don't know what's going on. Rams are losing. Chargers aren't doing so good. Russell Wilson looks like crap. And then all of a sudden the Jets can't lose. What kind of crazy upside down universe am I in?
I'm not saying football is fake, but it's staged. Have you seen pro wrestling? It's predetermined.
Oh, don't even. I'm not even going there. Sean, what's going on, buddy? Oh, Sean, you're having a rough time right now. I know. It hasn't been good. You had a few years back, you had kind of moments of hope and whatever, and then that whole thing with Deshaun Watson kind of threw everything sideways. That's unfortunate. But the good news is, Stevie B, I was just saying, what kind of topsy-turvy, upside-down universe are we living in that the Jets cannot lose? I mean, it's fun watching the Jets right now. I'm like rooting for them. I really am. Creative keep all teams that end in ETS. I have to admit, as we all saw, the Mets, who were in first place for some crazy amount of time, 168 days out of 180 days, going into the final handful of games. And not only do they lose the division, they get bounced out in the first round of the wild card. What the heck, dude?
Was it the Phillies? Did the Phillies do it? Or was it
the Phillies won. They rolled the Cardinals. So next we got to face the Braves. But technically, ironically enough, we should have been facing the Mets. The Mets should have gotten that bye. But a very interesting weekend of football. Obviously, excited about the Phils and being in the playoffs for first time in a really, really long time. So I'm hoping. Sean, do I have to say it, Sean? Do I have to be the one? Cheaters never prosper.
Oh, man. We'll see what happens. They got to get past them. They got to get past them pesky Mariners first. So
that's a great story, huh? How's that for a feel-good story?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, yeah, that was awesome to see. Jay, I was just kidding, Sean. I'm just playing, buddy.
I'm still bitter about that year, man. Don't bring that up again. Come on.
You know what though? It's like I feel like that's that whole issue. And not that I'm saying that I supported what the Astros did, but it's just to me, it's you can steal signs, but you can't do it electronically. They even have this at softball level. Use softball, if you believe it or not. Opposing team got called because the third base coach texted something to the first base coach, and the umpire called it out and said, you can't talk to each other electronically. What's the difference? What's the difference?
What's the difference is at least, the old school way is you have some kind of sign or something that you do, or you steal those signs, all that kind of stuff. With all this stuff, so what? Now we got drones flying up in the air, zooming in, stealing signs, figuring out this, reading lips, all that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous, man. Come on.
I guess to me, I don't realize what the difference is. Technology changes the game. You know, back in the late 1800s, you know, they didn't have batting helmets. You know, they didn't. You know, the gloves look like winter gloves. So to me, it's not. You know, it's part of the game. If you're not hiding it better, that's on you. You know what I tell the girls on my daughter's team when they're worried about somebody stealing signs, I'm like, look, dude, even if they know you're going to steal, guess what? The catcher still has to pop and make the throw, and the shortstop, it has to be in the right place, and the shortstop still has to retrieve and make the tag. I said a lot of moving parts, and to be honest with you, we've had it happen.
Hey,
you know, coming in between innings, my daughter says they're stealing our signs. I said, watch this, right? We're at first base, and I scream, steal. Okay, it's like steal.
I'll tell you this. One of my favorite Yankee pitchers of all time, Mariano Rivera. Every batter knew what he was going to get thrown.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't help them. Do you know what I'm saying? So
just be that slider, man. Good. Yep, you were getting that slider. I agree. But all right, so we have Mariano, who's
not Rivera,
not
the
Rivera,
baseball player,
far more famous. Is coloring in Emma Frost, and this one is by Geoffrey Gwynn. And it will be available tonight. We might as well make that the first item, since Mariano's working on it.
Since I jumped right ahead.
You jumped right ahead. You did. All right. So Doctor Strange, #1, blank variant, signed with Emma Frost cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza.
Nice.
Suggested retail of $149.99, and we have the one available for $75. And how it's going to look, I'm not sure yet. Right now, he's doing the flesh, which is pinkish, peachy kind of color. I know I'm using real tech words. So
base.
that
we're putting a base color down because then we can layer on that base.
And I could just act like I knew exactly what he was saying, but that would just be a lie. So why bother? Sean, you're absolutely right. You throw that cutter. What are you going to do? You still got to hit it, man. Even if you know it's coming, you still got to hit it. All right, so Mariano will be doing that, and then we have a hardcover omnibus. Is that right, Mariano?
The special item for today?
Yes, the God Woke.
Special item for today is really special.
All right,
really
so we'll get to that, and we'll let Mariano give us a little detail on that, and fill us in on 911, and it is. Or 411, and it's signed by 4 different creators, by the way. All right, and with the tip-in sheet as well. All right, let's get to the best offers. Get those out of the way. So our first best offer of the night, Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, #1. Signed in gold by J. Scott Campbell, suggested retail of $89.99. It is number 13 of 20. We have one available, and it is a best offer book starting at $50. Obviously, J. Scott Campbell's getting to be an increasingly difficult signature to get.
Such an amazing artist.
There is a metallic green image of this that
A metal cover?
Yeah, no, it's not a metal cover. The ink is metallic green.
Oh, okay.
And when I say, you know how I always talk about the appropriate color green? That was the appropriate color green. That's sitting at home by my house.
So when you eat M&Ms, do you pick out all the green ones?
When I've gone to the M&M thing, like at Disney World, there's one in Myrtle Beach that I go to, all green M&Ms.
All right, and we'll leave that one right there. So
I used to always like the tan ones from when I was a kid. They don't even make those ones anymore. You remember they used to have a brown
same. All of them. They taste the same. It's food coloring, people.
Thank you, Rex. You're
welcome.
Rex.
That doesn't matter, man. There's colors have different tastes. Trust me.
I have no idea what we're even talking about, dude. All right. So next up, we have Solar, Man of the Atom, #1. Signed in gold by Frank Barbieri. Suggested retail of $89.99. And we have the one available, and it's going to be a best offer book starting at $10.
That's the black and white. I love that.
All right. Weird. It doesn't work that way, people. It all tastes the same.
Everybody has their favorite. Brad, there's colors that have been discontinued. And if it didn't matter, trust me, those M&M stores, which make 7-8 figures a year, would not have
it's like the McRib. I don't get it.
It's McCartilage. And that's...
Yeah, well, whatever. It doesn't taste that good. All right, Preston, got you, buddy.
I love the McRib. I'm just going to be, I'll stand for the McRib. I love how you love the processed food spam so much, but you don't like the coagulated, collated
I'm
pork product.
I'm not fighting for it. You know what? If you said all they have is McRib and fries, I'll eat it.
Yeah, no.
You know, but I'm not hunting it down or anything.
There's something to me about that sauce, that texture of that meat and the onions and the pickles, man. I just love it. I don't know. It's a once a year thing though. It's a once a year.
Yeah, the consistency is the same thing they make what are they, plastic bags out of?
Yeah, pretty much. There's like they had to like patent that, right? Because there was a certain way that they molded that without a casing. Right?
Yeah, that's like a proprietary process or whatever it was. That's not just there's a local place in Philly that has they call it like McRib done right or something, and it's actually ribs.
Oh,
and you get the thing, and then like you pull the bone out and eat it, and you know it's not ribs. It's cartilage. It's tasty. It's edible. Sean Butler brought up a good point though. He said he didn't know that Dynamite had the rights to Solar. Dynamite had Solar, Sean, for years, along with Turok. My favorite of the Gold Key characters. Magnus Robot Fighter. There's been a couple different versions of Magnus Robot Fighter that we've done. There's been a couple different versions of Solar too. And there's been, I think, one or two crossovers. Turok, of course, but there's one or two crossovers. One was called The Sovereigns, and I can't remember what the other one was. It was something Gold Key related.
There you go. Let's see.
Nexus, which was one of the first indie hits way back when, the DNA from Solar is kind of what Nexus is. There, you can sort of tell the same way that Charlton characters informed the Watchmen. Solar Man of the Atom informed Nexus, which not Steve Rude. Who did Nexus?
That's Steve Rude.
Steve Rude.
Is it Steve Rude? Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Did I get to all the best offers? I did. Oh no, I didn't. All right, so then we have Red Sonja Halloween Special Limited Metal Cover Edition. Figure we throw these up as we're getting close to Halloween. And these are one of the premium metal covers, aluminum alloy. Suggested retail of 100 and is a best offer book starting at 50.
I love that jack-o'-lantern monster. That's so cool and festive for the season. I love it.
And having photographs of them really doesn't do them justice, because if you're holding them in real light, especially in sunlight, they reflect. They've got rainbow colors inside. They're amazing.
That's why it's so difficult to take a picture of it.
It is very difficult to take a picture.
All right, and then
so Sean, you can go to your own. I just keep talking about. You can still go. You can go to your local comic book shop, and I'm pretty sure they'll have some back issues. If not, there are a ton of vendors. Pretty much everyone on the experience is a vendor. Dynamic Forces, everybody that we have here sells comics. If you want to pick this stuff up, I'm pretty sure somebody can help you on this channel.
So, all right. So last best offer book. So we have Betty Page Halloween Special Limited Metal Cover Edition. Again, it's one of our premium metal covers. Suggested retail of 100, and it is also a best offer book starting at 50. Well, Rubenstein, what's going on, buddy? Ron says, "Oh, okay. Yeah, Ron, I caught your message earlier. When it does get framed and returned to you, I'd love to. I'm sure all the viewers would love to see how it came out."
Yeah, Preston, Dynamite did do the Sovereigns.
All right, and then for our CCA buyers,
that reminds me. I should ask Nick for more Sovereigns.
Okay.
You're yammering away about comic books, and we're talking about important stuff.
Why don't you send him an email?
At Rex.
Well, you know where all those emails go. All right. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So for our CCA fans, we have 4 tonight. Okay. So 2 of which are being colored by Mariano during the show. And then we have 2 new Hazer ones as well. So we'll get to that as well. But how was your Monday show last week, Horror Fest?
Oh, it was great. We talked about the movie Green Room last week, and that is a really, really good movie. And most of the chat really seemed to enjoy it. We also did a special bonus episode on Friday for Werewolf by Night, which I loved. And in fact, the entire panel gave it a 5 out of 5 you digs. So we all gave it a perfect score. We were just so impressed with Werewolf by Night.
I have to catch up.
Werewolf by Night's really, really, really. I watched it again. I let the dog out. I watched it a third time in a row. I mean, it's that good. It's just
no spoiler alerts.
No,
I am
we're just
way
letting you know
behind.
it's good.
I am super
And
behind.
I'll tell you what else Robbie had going on. We should really just talk more about his stuff because it's always way more interesting than what we're doing, except for Mariano coloring. He had he threw out on his Facebook page, and I thought this triggered a very cool conversation. Robbie's probably checked on it more than I have about what's your favorite horror movie. It was just a simple question, and it seemed like the last time I checked, I don't want to say overwhelming favorite, but the majority seemed to be John Carpenter's version of The Thing.
Yeah, that and Halloween. So it was
And
definitely
Halloween,
yeah. So basically, everybody in our Facebook group has great taste because we all love John Carpenter. So that's awesome, right?
Everybody had John Carpenter, and I think my entry, just to add my favorite, and this is one of these movies that is right on the line. Is it horror or science fiction? When I was a little kid, it scared me, so to me, it's always horror. Was The Thing from Another World, 1951. The original version of that movie.
Well, didn't we wasn't that one of your topics for your Friday show that I
We did our favorite remakes, and we brought up The Thing.
I thought we did a horror one too. Maybe we didn't. Well,
We just did the werewolf
Friday,
one. So
well, I remember that. That was Friday, Rob.
okay, I just don't know because
thanks
sometimes
for the
with you,
support,
we're
bro.
actually
Thanks for the support there. So on Robbie's show, we did in honor of Werewolf by Night, we did your favorite werewolf movies, and that was interesting. That was an interesting topic that you threw out there, and I think somewhere down the line we're going to do vampires.
Yes,
Because in my research, I discovered that I really never was drawn to werewolf movies as a whole. So a lot of the werewolf movies I saw, there was like a different reason for me watching it, in a sense, if you know what I mean. I didn't watch it for the werewolf, like
No, I know what you mean.
American Werewolf in London. Why did I watch that?
We watched that because everybody watched it. It was about backpacking in Europe, and then
because it was the Dr. Pepper dude.
Oh yeah, David Naughton.
So we all had to go watch it because, dude, it's the Dr. Pepper dude. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. Well, let's see him wolf out, man.
I remember everybody wanted to go see it, and I was like, and I wanted to see something else in the theater. And then somebody told me Jenny Agutter is in that movie.
I don't remember.
Jenny Agutter is, I can't remember her name, but I think Jessica from Logan's Run.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I have watched everything.
That's right.
Jenny Agutter was the British representative for the Security Council in the first couple Captain America movies.
Right.
There's like 2 or 3 British actresses that have stretched from when I was a little kid to now. And
So Sean Butler, that was on my list. I wasn't sure if that qualified, but I threw it on my list anyway. Underworld.
Bulleted. Well, I think
that was definitely.
Underworld is both the vampire and a werewolf movie,
which I enjoyed, right? Because here was my theory.
Let Robbie make the ruling. It's his.
Well, no, he accepted it.
I'll allow it. Yeah.
But the discussion I was making was that I think I'm drawn to vampire movies more than I am werewolf movies, mainly because at some point a werewolf movie's got to wolf out, right? And then it's just about carnage and rampaging and chasing and all of that. Whereas a vampire is continuously a vampire, but can have deep, you can really explore the character. So that's kind of what I thought.
Well, yeah, because they write vampires sometimes that they can go out in daylight or they can go out in cloudy situations, and some of them kill and some of them don't. And now the whole vampire thing has exploded in pop culture.
Yeah,
in the last 25 years where almost anything goes.
Oh, I agree with Sean. I like the interplay of vampires and lichens and that whole thing developing. Not one of Robbie's favorites. And then I haven't seen that one, Ed Weird, believe it or not. I'm gonna have to check that one out. John Carpenter's Vampires with James Wood.
It's really good. That's one of those movies that's just great too.
Yeah, I mean,
sit down at night, turn it on, shut off the lights, crack open a beer.
I warned Robbie that my list and his list probably would not crisscross on Friday. Another one of my favorites, obviously, Teen Wolf. Why did I watch that? It was Michael J. Fox, dude. He was hotter than hot. When I was doing the research, I realized that the number one movie of that, Teen Wolf was the number 2 movie of that year.
Number 1 was what? Back to the Future?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, he was hotter than hot at that point.
It's hard to tell people now, but there was a time where Michael J. Fox literally what was like printing money.
Yeah,
they put him in 5 or 6 or 7 movies in like a 3-4 year period, and he just rained money. And that guy essentially hasn't had to work since.
Yeah. Plus, he was still on Family Ties, right? So he was still doing that too. I think.
Yep. I mean, his career just exploded at that point.
And Larsman is right. What we do in Shadows does not get mentioned nearly often enough in these kind of conversations because it's comedic. But there is just a rooftop scene between a werewolf and a vampire. That's very, very, very cool.
Well, Silver Bullet obviously was probably one of Gary Busey's best roles. He played that perfectly.
And it's one of my favorite Stephen King books too. I tell people, if you like the movie, a lot of times they take a movie and they took a book and turned it into a movie, and it's
that was the reason I watched Silver Bullet, and was I wasn't sure what to expect, but I was a huge Stephen King fan of his books and obviously movies and so on and so forth. So they said, "Oh, Silver Bullet by Stephen King." Oh, well, yeah, I'm watching that.
That's all it takes.
But I found out when Robbie had sent me the topic that when I went to look at all of my favorite movies, I didn't go and watch them because they were werewolf films.
Yeah,
I went to watch them for a different reason and then walked away from it. Obviously thinking it was awesome. So, all right. So Mariano, before we go to break, you want to hold that up a little bit so we can check out the progress?
Boy.
All right, so this is the challenge.
Oh, wow.
Whether or not Mariano can manage to take a stationary object and an object in motion and get it to work. Can you hold it up closer?
Closer to what?
To the camera.
There we go.
Closer to what?
Artists aren't all
3 shows in. Mariano's starting to get a little bit salty.
I think it's 5, but all right.
Alex.
And Sean, you're right. That's probably the best thing I've ever seen Gary Busey is by far is when he did Buddy Holly.
Yeah, and then lately he's gone all Ezra Miller on us.
He's also really good as the lead henchman in the first Lethal Weapon film as well.
Oh, that's true. Gary Busey has had his problems, but when he has been on screen, especially in the early, he absolutely delivered. He really did.
Did you guys remember that show, I'm with Busey? I used to watch that all the time. I was obsessed with it.
I don't remember that.
It was like on Comedy Central or something. It was just, they put this dude with Gary Busey, and Gary Busey would just do wild, stupid, crazy stuff. And this guy would just be like, what's going on?
All right, Creative Key
is taking Emma Frost. So it's
all right, buddy. It is yours, my friend.
And he played in a movie which wasn't a huge hit, but he played legendary University of Alabama football coach Bear Bryant.
I don't remember that.
And that's another movie where he really, I think those roles were a lot better for him. Those roles where he was playing someone else. Robert Downey Jr. always said his favorite role to this day, and he's like, I don't want to, Tony Stark is great. I've had fun playing Sherlock Holmes, a bunch of other characters. The favorite thing he did was Charlie Chaplin. That walking in someone else's shoes, right? And Gary Busey had that same reaction in an interview that he loved playing.
So Ed Weird, I think his role in Predator 2 was excellent as well. And obviously Lethal Weapon, the first one.
Predator 2 is one of those movies that gets forgotten and lost in the shuffle. If I have to take an actor that has been in movies that I have absolutely loved over like a 25-year period, clearly people know by now I go to see a lot of movies. This isn't like a recent thing. I've been going to see movies since I was a kid. Bill Paxton is my guy. Bill Paxton has appeared in more movies, including
that's true.
Predator 2. This guy shows up everywhere. He showed up in Terminator. People are like, "Oh, I didn't know he was in the original Terminator."
So
he's like one of the banker gang dudes that.
Yeah, he's actually been killed on screen by a xenomorph, a predator, and a Terminator.
So John, you've been watching movies since you were a kid. So you saw the first release of Charlie Chaplin, huh?
I did. I remember when he was the hot commodity.
All right, stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Hey, it's producer Kyle. If you like going places where the action never stops, like Las Vegas, the Caribbean, and Atlantic City, then you're probably not who I want to talk to. But if you want to surround yourself with amazing comic books and comic book content made by a devoted group of smart and funny industry insiders, the Experience Members Club was made for you. You can join the experience by becoming a supporting member of our YouTube channel. You get access to exclusive content that no one else gets, like members-only live streams, pre-sales, one-on-one Q&As with production staff, and other content that's exclusively for members. Plus, for a limited time, if you sign up now, you'll be entered into our giveaway of a slabbed comic book. Just call this 1-8... Wait, hold on. It's 2022. No one makes phone calls anymore. Scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen, or just visit the membership section of our YouTube page, and you'll be on the VIP line of the comic book buffet, baby. Look at the size of those perks. Join today, and I'll be saying, who loves you, baby? Me. The answer is me.
Hi, my name is Brian Phillipson, co-writer on Weed Magic and co-founder of Bliss on Tap Publishing and home of Duel, and you're watching The Experience.
Hey, we're back. I don't know where John went. He's probably picking up his pull list. And Weird, I got you down for both, buddy, and congratulations on your anniversary. And hopefully you have your wife's permission. Paxton was phenomenal. We were just talking about it. He's been in so many movies.
Creative Keep mentions Frailty. Have you ever seen Frailty with him and Matthew McConaughey? That movie is so good. He plays a dad who's like obsessed with this idea that he believes God is speaking to him and is telling him that certain people are actually demons in disguise.
I saw this one. Yeah,
and and he teaches his sons to, like, basically they become axe murderers. It's so good. So good.
I'll have to check that out. And Weird, not so loud. She's downstairs. Hey, your secret's safe with us and all the viewers, I guess. All right, let's get to another book. All right, we have Venom the End, #1, signed in silver by Raza. Suggested retail of $69.99. It is a 5-star $50 book. It is #2 of 70, and it is signed in silver. Love that cover.
Maybe he really is a ghost.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's very
Josh went. Happy Monday, buddy.
It's very hard to find something on IMDb that Bill Paxton was in, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like that. He's a great character in the beginning of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Do you remember him in True Lies?
I do remember.
Yes.
Hilarious in that movie.
It was a tragedy how he passed. He went in for what is a pretty normal procedure. I forget what it was, and got a staph infection or something. That's just tragic.
Well, people sometimes, like in pro wrestling and MMA, guys get staph infections from the gym, training, the mats, whatever, and people are all upset, like, oh, it's just a staph infection. And not to be disrespectful, I'm like, that kills people, right? It's not like somebody's pulling out of a boxing match for a fight or a football game or something, because, staph infections kill people, especially, people from that generation who rub a little dirt on it. It'll be fine. Walk it off.
Yep.
You don't walk off staph.
You mean that doesn't work?
Kevin Nash, the pro wrestler, he talked about this on an interview. He almost died from a staph infection.
Yeah,
everybody's like, come on, big dude like you, pro wrestler, you're fine.
Got nothing to do
One
with
day he couldn't get out the couch, and, they were like, you have to go to the hospital now.
What role did he play in Titanic, Bill Paxton?
Wasn't he the captain or something?
He was
that was an old dude.
No, he was one of the officers, like the signal officer or the second officer.
He was somebody that worked on the ship, I remember.
Yeah.
All right, so Sean Butler has a question for Mariano. Sean.
Fire away, Sean. I don't have my glasses on.
He says, I think I know the answer, but he's curious. Mariano, is there a reason for the gloves while you draw?
He wants to avoid a staph infection.
No.
The
That was a good
gloves are
guess.
available.
Whether we realize it or not, our skin is very oily. My skin is definitely very oily. And when you're working with colors, markers, and whatever, you don't want to get skin oil on the art. So I put on gloves, especially when I'm doing something like this with sketch covers.
So these used gloves will be available
At
for
Dynamic
auction
Forces,
starting at $1 this evening.
Just $1?
$1 per glove.
I'm
So
trying to
it's
sell it,
$2.
Mariano. I'm trying to sell your
$1
skin.
per digit.
I'm trying to sell your skin oil, my friend. You know how difficult that is?
You know
Guy,
how hard
I'm
it is
working.
to find art like this. He's doing it without the numbers.
Yeah.
I've never colored anything without
Did you
numbers.
actually look closely at the cover sketch?
There's no. I'm really looking forward to him doing the Abomination.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He played
That's
one of the
right.
scientists. Is that
Yes,
one of the
yes.
engineers?
Now I remember. Yes, that made such a small impression on me. Yeah, at the beginning and end.
Titanic is also probably the Bill Paxton movie I've seen the least. I've seen Titanic maybe twice all the way through.
You know, we on Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday, we talked about Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, which has Billy Zane in it, and one of his best performances. Like, I love him so much as the collector in that movie. James Cameron saw that movie, loved Billy Zane so much, that's what got him the Titanic gig.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. Billy Zane is a cool dude. Name the movie.
Okay. I remember his Phantom movie. It was
Phantom,
horrible.
yeah.
It was
You
just
should take his
horrible.
advice. Billy Zane is a cool dude.
So
that's
Sean, yeah, we figured that out, buddy. He was assigned at the beginning and the end of the movie. And weird, that's right. I didn't realize that. He was the captain of the Titanic was played by the King of Rohan, King Theoden.
What's funny is my wife watches a lot of BBC, right? And these people show up on these things. And she's like, oh, his name is blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's Stephen King. Pay attention. And my wife is like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you don't understand. Everything you watch is cast by Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. Like 99% of the staff people from or Harry Potter.
Or Doctor Who.
Or Doctor Who, yeah.
She would get upset every time she would watch Downton Abbey. I would come in and I'd be like, what's up with Professor McGonagall? Why is she so upset? You're ruining everything like you always do. Go to the other
I just
room.
want to give a shout out to Creative Keep. U-571 is an amazing film. World War II submarine film. John Bon Jovi's in it. Matthew McConaughey. Really good movie.
It's one of those movies that you're like, I can't believe how many people. I think a lot of these guys, like John Bon Jovi, decide we really want to kind of try to be like. He talks about that. He really wanted to be like a serious actor, and he's like, I just, when somebody asks him, he's like, I wasn't good enough. He's like, I just, you have to stay in your lane.
If anybody remembers him in U-571, he's in there for a few minutes, right? And then when the attack happens, he just gets decapitated by shrapnel or something like that.
Yeah.
He's done.
He was in a movie like a chick flick with like Queen Latifah or whatever, and his career just never really went anywhere. People were like, oh my God, he was perfect in this movie. And then nothing happened.
And weird, I have to agree with you. I really do love sub movies. Hunt for Red October, obviously, and Crimson Tide was a tremendous one.
Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
I actually love that Disney movie.
And my favorite, I love that. My favorite ancillary Walking Dead tale is Dead Below, I think it's called. And it's the zombie outbreak on a submarine. Like a sub was on station, all of a sudden they lose contact, and it's because, of course,
Well, Crimson,
really cool.
Crimson Tide, the acting between Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington was just phenomenal.
Another great submarine movie, Life Aquatic by Wes Anderson. That's a good one. With Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. How do you not like something with Bill Murray in it?
I don't remember. I don't think I've seen that one.
That one's hilarious. Willem Dafoe's in that one, too.
And I tell people to watch Mr. Roberts. It's an older comedy, like dated comedy, but Mr. Roberts sort of takes place primarily on the submarine.
Gotcha. All right, so let's do the next book. We've got Nightwing number 13, signed in gold by Tom DeFalco. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is we have one available, number 2 of 10 signed in gold for $19.41 for the year that Dick Grayson first appeared.
Yeah, you can digitize out that Arrow stuff. That's all done. Operation Petticoat is another movie like that. Down Periscope was Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer. Yep. That was an
What is
awesome
our
movie.
favorite Sean Connery movie? Oh, mine by a million miles, not even close. And I love a lot of Sean Connery movies. Is Goldfinger.
Yeah, I was gonna say Goldfinger for me, for sure.
It's not
I gotta
even.
think. He's been in so many different things.
My number two
Zardo.
would be Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds and Forever is my number one.
Nice.
I'm thinking. I'm gonna probably think of something that's
He could have been
James
Professor
Bond.
Dumbledore, and he opted to do League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And the problem is, me and like 4 people like that version of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I liked it.
theater.
I
Most
liked the
people
movie.
were
I
like,
really
this-
did. I enjoyed that movie.
Well, they felt they needed to Americanize it, so they added a character, which was not great. Which ironically was funny. In a twist of fate, I think Alan Moore revisited that character with like when he did like further on down the line. A lot of times people don't realize League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was 16 years before they ended it. They just ended it relatively recently.
The Rock is a good one.
Weird.
The Rock is a
Oh,
really
take
good one.
EBB out of the chat. I don't want to see that. I'm unfollowing him on Facebook right now. Actually, I'm going to send him James. I'm going to send him Sean Connery James Bond gifts on Facebook. Here you go, man.
I gotta look now because now I'm kind of curious.
The Rock is a good one, though. I like that one too.
The Rock was a good one. I
one.
like that movie. That was.
Well, yeah, Sean Connery did a movie that was a transition from the older movie style to the more modern movie style called Outland.
My favorite has to be
Outland was very
Untouchables.
good.
Outland
Yeah.
was a very good movie where he played. Basically, it was a very realistic look at the future where everything is kind of corrupt and terrible, especially if you work in mining towns or company towns. And he was trying to be, like the good guy,
Right.
and it just worked out really poorly.
I think
Russia
Creative
House
Keep, you're
is
thinking of
not a good
K-19. K-19, I think, is that movie.
Yeah,
Creative Keep.
K-19. That's right. That's the one with Harrison Ford. Untouchables got to be the.
Yes, Preston. Outland was essentially High Noon.
Outland. Yes, that was actually an awesome movie.
It's like a Western, but it was.
It was
Yeah,
like a
that
Western.
was a phenomenal movie. But
And
it was
you know
that
who
and
referenced
Untouchables.
that? The idea of a Western in space. The idea of a Western space originally came from Star Trek.
Yep.
Because Gene Roddenberry talked about it was supposed to be like a wagon train to the stars, right? Later, Outland gets visited, and they have this idea we can put a Western in space. One of the people most affected by that movie, Joss Whedon, and creates Firefly, which is essentially a Western in space.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. I did. The Highlander was a good one as well. The first one. Then they got Goofy.
There's a ton of. It's hard to pick.
He had such a long career.
He had a long career. He's been in a ton of stuff. You like the older one. You like the newer one. Hunt for Red October is really, really.
That was a phenomenal movie.
Was tough. And the truth is, there's a good chance Hunt for Red October could have been my all-time favorite movie if instead of Baldwin, they had put Harrison Ford as. If that movie had been Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, Hunt for Red October, that would have been my favorite movie. Just like my favorite Bond movie would have been On Her Majesty's Secret Service if Sean Connery had been in the movies of George Lazenby.
It's still a good movie, though. It's still really good.
It's a really good movie. It's one of the better Bond movies, too.
Crimson Tide, another great sub movie. All right, so Stevie B mentions Run Silent, Run Deep. That was a good movie. And
yes.
Jersey Mike's. Same answer for when I talk about pizza. I live in the hub of hoagies and pizza. I do not eat at Domino's or Pizza Hut. Papa John's. Okay, so I would not get hoagies. I've actually never stepped into a Jersey Mike's. Why would I?
EVB, I'll tell you right now, one of my friends he collects props. He's not a big comic guy, but he collects props for movies. His prized possession is one of the glass swords from Zardoz, which is actually lucite. Sean Connery talked about how terrible they were to deal with because they were very slippery. Everybody's hands, they got makeup and lotion and whatever, and they're shooting the movie, and everybody was doing this, like, whoop, and either they wouldn't be able to pull it or it would just be gone. But a buddy of mine spent an embarrassing amount of money to get this with, like the cert for it and everything.
I'm sorry, Ed Weird. I did not like Zardoz. Did not.
Well, the truth is Connery was probably too old at that point.
It just wasn't a very good movie. Man Who Would Be King, I remember that one. But I mean, clearly in that one sequence, Star Trek 2.
Well, that dates back to this Star Trek episode called Balance of Terror, which is very much a sub movie.
What are you talking about, Wrath of Khan?
Yeah. The scene where they're in the Mutara Nebula and they're sort of
they're dropping the depth charges or whatever.
Depth charges or whatever, and that stems from Balance of Terror, which is the episode where they meet the Romulans, and because primarily everything had been negotiated by Subspace Radio, nobody had seen Romulans before, and then where we get the scene with Mark Lenard, who played the Romulan commander. Also played Spock's father, played a Klingon in the first movie.
Right.
That's when you get that whole sort of scene where it deals with prejudice because the guy doesn't trust Spock because he looks like a Romulan. And that's where Kirk tells him, discrimination, racism has no place on the bridge. If you don't like it, dude, take a walk. That's how it is.
Yeah. So thanks, Sean. Yeah, they reminded me. I totally forgot about the battle in Nebula. That was pretty cool. That was just a good movie all the way around. They did a great job redeeming them. I enjoyed the first one personally, but I'm a huge.
Well, if you watched Star Blazers, even though it was Battleship Yamato, a lot of the ship-to-ship action was more like
with the big gun,
was the wave motion gun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of the ship-to-ship action in Star Blazers was more like a sub engagement than like battleship engagement.
Right. All right, so next up we got Batman and Robin number 38, signed in gold by Peter Tomasi. Suggested retail $89.99. It is we have one available, number 7375, for $27.
Great deal. Great cover too. I love that homage, but Flash has to sneak in a photo bomb.
I love that, the sort of
photo bomb. All right, so Jay wants to take a quick check on the Mariano cam. Let's take a look.
I like that Mariano.
Coming your way.
Holy cow.
Creative Keep.
Nice.
That's
you were right to trust him.
Yeah.
All right.
Just one time.
So Creative Keep, you want Rex and I to just sign it over the top, right? So it increases him down.
No, right over Emma Frost's face.
Yeah.
Gonna do it right, man.
Creative Keep, I'll say this. Not only was this a good pickup, and I'm not trying to say this to sound like a jerk because he'll see it soon enough, but seeing this like in real life, like in real time, it's just amazing. You're going to be super happy when this arrives.
All right. So at this point, let's talk about, and since Mariano's almost done with the first one, let's talk about God Woke real quick.
Yes, God Woke. And I'm not going to look up. I'm going to keep working. All right. But God Woke was actually a project that I'm super proud of. I had worked with Stan Lee in the 90s at Marvel, and this was way after that. And I was working, at least negotiating with his people at POW Entertainment, and we wanted to work together. We wanted to do a project together. We just didn't know what that was going to be. And he had written a book, an alien encounter book, at one point, like a novel. So that was up for consideration. Hey, should we take that alien book and turn that into a comic? No, that the rights are tied up. He just had rights tied up with tons of stuff. They literally pulled this sheet of paper from an old-fashioned folder, and it was a poem that he had written in 1971. And it was like literally like, no one's been able to figure out what to do with this. If you want to do something, it's yours. So I took it, I read it, and it was classic Stan Lee material that he would have written in the late 60s, early 70s. And even though it was a poem, it was clearly a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I showed it to Fabian. That's my brother, Fabian Nicieza, well-known writer.
Has he ever done anything in the industry?
He did one thing, just one thing.
I threw the kids some work, but then
And he thought the same thing. He said, yeah, there's something here. So the premise became that we would take that poem and make it a plot. Make it the script. We treated the poem as a script. And then Fabian took it and did like a retrofit, retroactive, whatever that term is for working backwards and making a plot out of it. And then once there was a plot, I was able to take something and illustrate it and turn it into an 80-page graphic novel. And then it was printed for the first time and only time as a hardcover original graphic novel. And it was never distributed in comic shops. It was just distributed at conventions and through select distributors. So only 1,000 were ever printed. And from those 1,000, only 500 were done in the style that we're showing on camera, which is a tip-on, an original piece of colored artwork tipped onto the cover. So It's a very unique project. And we won a gold medal for some publishing excellence, blah, blah, blah.
That is very cool. Yeah. All right, so Preston, let me get you the price there, buddy. All right. So,
like, I'll eat 3.
But wait
a minute.
Yeah, you could get 3 if you want to read it three times, right?
These are not in the $5 reader's pack. I'm telling you.
My blue heaven, I'll never forget that line. Why do you have 100 copies, sir?
We read more than once.
We read more than once. All right, so the suggested retail is 100. It is a show special at 75. But Preston, if you buy anything else on the show, and I think you've got your bid in at 10 for the Solar Man of the Atom, then it's $50. All right. So just confirm with us that you still want to pick one up, but I have you written down, my friend.
And there are 4 signatures in these books.
That is correct.
One by me, one by Fabian Niciesa, one by Wilson Ramos Jr., who's an art director and also a letterer and a colorist, and Frank Levecci, who's a writer and an editor. So
but it's the most important signature, obviously, is Mariano.
Now, I didn't say that. I didn't say, and if those guys are watching, I didn't say that. He said that.
That's okay. There are plenty of people PO'd at me.
So is the piece of art on each one different, or is it all like this one?
As a matter of fact,
I was going to say,
every piece is different.
Wow, that's very cool. I
love this one that we can see. It's very Kirby. I love that. The hand coming right at you.
And the inside is very Kirby as well, because the project Stan wrote it in 1971, and that was like the height. Actually, it was the tail end of his partnership with Kirby. But in 68 and 69, it's really considered the height of their partnership together. So we wanted this story to reflect that type of style. So yes, very much a Kirby style throughout the whole thing.
Very cool. All right. So Sean has another question for you.
He gifted a copy.
He wants, Sean Butler wants to know, Mariano,
yes,
do you have a favorite cover that you've done?
Do I have a favorite cover that I've done? Well, I have a character. I have a series of characters that I own that I call Phaser Universe. And I've done several pieces of art and covers for that project. So there are some favorite covers I have, and they're all on the Phaser comics.
So, all right, Ron, you got it, buddy. So I kind of think we're going to be able to keep Mariano coming back, because from what I understand, he just does this stuff at home anyway, and his wife is sick of him being there. So she's actually very happy he's coming out here to do it with us, and she can be left alone.
Why do you think I'm here?
Oh, we already knew that, bro.
My wife probably Venmo'd Nick money. You have got to put him on your show. I need some peace and quiet.
Oh, man.
Because that woman doesn't know what an unhappy day is like. Ask her mother.
And that's John's secret to a happy marriage. Get in with the mom.
You know what? Her mom and I would cook, and her mom taught me more about Italian cooking than I learned in 2 different culinary schools that I attended. Her mom's so a lot of times she would just,
don't think she's watching the show. You can take a break, buddy. It's all right.
I say this all the time when I've done radio interviews. People are like, "Where did you learn to cook?" And I'm like, "It's more important who you learn to cook. Who you learn from than where you learn."
All right. So Mariano, Ron has offered to pay extra for a pencil sketch of your choice inside the book.
Inside which book?
The God Woke. He picked one up.
Oh, I see. Okay, sure. Done.
So Ron,
one too.
Ron, you have been such a great customer for us. I'm going to go ahead and say that Mariano will add a sketch of some type, and we'll settle up with Mariano on our end. Okay, because you've been such a loyal viewer and stuff like that. But so glad everybody's interested.
Yeah,
this is very neat
for me. Just building it.
Anybody that needs
their slice of pizza.
Anybody needs their car detailed, John's welcome to do it. So I'm offering up his labors as well.
Dude, I have never detailed my car in my life.
Well, you learn
something. These hands are.
You learn something new every day, John. Okay. So Sean Butler was 100% New York Italian. One of my best friends, his family owns a bakery, Cassius Bakery. I went to high school with them, and I
great bakery.
Yeah, so I went to high school with, and at that point, his dad. I remember he had such odd hours. He was never able to hang out with us on weekends because he had to get up at like some ridiculous hour, like 2 a.m. in the morning on Saturdays to go and deal with the bread and make deliveries and stuff. But I used to go and eat at their house a lot for dinner and stuff. And my God, the amount of food, and it was all excellent. And that's where I learned to like Brussels sprouts, believe it or not. It was at his house that I ever ended up eating my first Brussels sprout. And weird, John, please don't detail my car in lard, bacon grease, and melted whoppers.
What? It'll be like a nice shine to it.
If you get hungry, you can lick the upholstery. Come on.
Well, no, the truth is, and not to bring the show down or anything, but my wife appreciates my cooking more since her mom passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So she sort of, you know what I mean? Like it was, at first I didn't know if I was going to cook that food for her because I didn't know when you lose a parent. I mean, it's hard.
You don't know how
but
to react.
Her father actually said to me, we were going to go out. And he's like, why don't you just go in the kitchen? Which is my father-in-law's way of saying, I don't want to go out. You should cook. He's a bad leg. Has trouble getting around. So I made like pork cutlets. I made what they had in the freezer, And he's like, he turned to my wife and said, oh, this tastes like your mother's cooking. And my reaction was like I was like, I didn't know if this was going to
stay clear. No, don't get hit by friendly fire.
I am not the most sensitive guy. Clearly, obviously, a big, loud, obnoxious dude. I wind up having to apologize later for saying things that are upsetting or inappropriate or whatever. But I just stood there with the tray.
I'm still waiting.
And my wife was like, "Oh yeah, this does taste like mom's." And then I was like, "Oh, okay, good." So then I sat down and put food on the plate.
No one will kill me in my sleep tonight, anyway.
Well, I mean, you don't want to ever be disrespectful, and you know what I mean, that sort of thing. Especially
that's a minefield.
Like plus Italian Americans, the cuisine is very, very sort of proprietary and like a lot of relevance. So the last thing you want to do is mess any of that stuff up. She was the first person that taught me instead of doing meatballs.
Hey Lee, yes, there are. Would you like me to put you down for one? And we can definitely do so. And then Jay, when you get a chance, throw up the link. All right. So for any new viewers that are playing, are oh my God, it's weird. I totally forgot about the game. We'll start that in a minute.
You want me to just do one real quick before we go to the break?
Well, hold on. Let me answer Lee. There are more God Woke hard covers available. All you got to do is claim one in the chat. Jay will throw up a link. It is a submission form. And sure. All right. So hold on a second. If you do claim one, remember to click on the link. That's a submission form. Gives us your ship to address. And then we'll generate the invoice and send it to that particular email that you put in the submission form. All right. Okay. So it is $100 suggested retail. Tonight, show special for $75. If you pick up anything else during the show, then you'll get the hardcover for $50. All right. So $75 if you don't buy anything else, $50 if you pick up something else, and there's always something on our show reasonably priced that you can pick up on. All right. And then Lee, if you want to claim one, just say what you're claiming in the chats. Then click onto the submission form and fill out all the relevant information so we know how to invoice you and obviously most important, the ship to address so we can ship it to you, my friend. All right. And again, thank you for joining us tonight. It's always nice to have new viewers. Not that we don't love our dedicated viewers who come back every week.
They get sick of hearing us after a while, so I'm sure the new people
speak for yourself. Yeah, exactly. There you go, Ed Weird. You know what? Let me do that next, and we'll go to our next break. So we have the Dynamite 10-pack reader set. Suggested retail $40.
Oh, so Larsman has to get going.
All right, Larsman. All right, yeah, you got it, buddy.
Larsman, hope you're feeling better. He said
I hope you are too, Larsman. No problem, buddy. Do me a favor. Whenever you get a chance, send me an email because I'm going to forget. Lee, don't worry. Well, there's plenty of chat about food, my friend. But yes, send me an email and I will email you the information, buddy. All right, feel better.
Yeah.
All right. So is that so each hardcover has a different art cover?
Each yes, it's called a tip-on and it's about 4 inches by 6 inches.
Are they hand drawn or
they are hand colored? So what I'm doing is I'm taking artwork from the interior and then displaying it as full pieces of art. And then that is a print piece, which then gets colored over. Very similar to what I'm doing. Well, these are inked, but similar to what I'm doing here, where it's hand coloring over line art.
All right. So the Dynamite 10-pack reader set, there'll be 10 random Dynamite titles, and it's just retail of 40. But as always, as thank you to our viewers, we have it for $5 for the 10 books, 50 cents a copy. You really can't lose there. All right. So we're going to go to our next break. Stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Thanks for tuning into The Experience. Help us out and hit subscribe over on YouTube and click the bell when you do. Need some help? Scan the QR code in the bottom corner. Who would win, Batman or Superman? It's the age-old debate, except it's so much more complicated than that. Nerd Killer Warfare every week on The Experience is your chance to debate other nerds in the questions we've all been asking for years, except we take those debates and turn them up to 11. Go to bit.ly/EXP casting or scan the QR code to be part of the show.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today. You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
And we're back. All right. So where Rubenstein had a, why do I hear it now? All of a sudden the echo. Where Rubenstein had a question, Mariana.
All right.
How many pages is the hardback?
So here, I brought a couple out actually. So just to show that, yes, there are different covers. It's a foil cover. The photo didn't really show that too well. This was the piece that was scanned.
Actually, show it under the Mariano cam.
Under the Mariano cam.
Albert, what's going on? Two Gun Pedro, what's going on, buddy?
Do you guys have the whatchamacallit? You have the speaker on there?
No, it's the iPad. The Mariano cam, unfortunately.
The Mariano cam? I like that.
All right. So as you can see, each one is hand colored and there is a different.
Right. Each one has a different piece of art.
All right.
And I'll tell you right now, as someone who has one, they're right. Absolutely worth it.
So, okay, you got it,
so
Lee.
to answer the question, it's 120 pages and
$3 a page. That's definitely fair.
There's the signatures.
All right. So, Lee, I just want to remind you, and Jay, if you get a chance, throw up that link again. So, Lee, very important. That's the only way we know who you are and have your email address, your ship to address. So we can text you or invoice you rather.
Afterward by Stan.
So Jay will throw it up in a second.
Loaded
There you
with
go. Thank you,
specials
Jay.
and extras.
Yeah. So did you say how many pages?
120.
120. I forget who asked that. Where Rubenstein, was that you, buddy? Maybe. All right. So wow, the Mariano cam works good. All right. So very cool. So Robbie. Ron's going to claim one as well. All right, you got it, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Well, Ron already claimed your thing. Your hardcover. He's claiming a 10 pack.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
Get the discount. It's okay,
Thank him
Ron.
anyway, I'll say thank you anyway.
Yeah, Mariano can still thank him for that. Come on.
That's crazy.
All right,
Why
Robbie.
you gatekeeping gratefulness, man? Come on.
Man, Robbie's a little salty this Monday, man. What happened?
What are you talking about?
Cowboys won, man. Convincingly.
I
don't know
feel
what
good.
you're cranky
His
about.
back hurts from carrying this show.
All right.
Oh, that's
John
you. Come on.
Spilios. All right, I got you down, John Spilios. You got it, buddy.
With
All right.
also a
So
sketch
just so you
if
know,
possible.
Mariano, John Spilios took one as well.
Thank you, John.
John
All
would
right.
like a sketch of me cooking.
I just want the sandwich, dude. This guy, he texted me on Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday?
Not sure.
Okay. He's at the bakery and he takes a picture and I hadn't had lunch yet. And I'm looking at this thing going, come on, man. What are you doing here? I'm starving. So I had to go out and get a sandwich.
What'd you get? Not Jersey Mike's.
All right. John Spilios wants a sketch as well. You got it, John. All right. So let me make a special notation for Ron, for John. All right. All right. You know what?
My client's sketch rate is $350 per in cash from the publisher. Are you sure you're okay to?
That's why they don't let me in accounting. So I don't deal with that stuff. That's not my department. Talk to somebody else. All right. So next up we've got
what's going on in there.
Next up, we've got The Walking Dead number 150, variant cover C by Jason Latour, ultra limited edition blood red signature, signed by Stefano Guadiano. Suggested retail $59.99, and we have one available for $30 for number 30. Is number 30 of 15?
When you first showed this cover, I didn't quite just automatically figure out what was going on, and I thought that the severed head was attached to Michonne's body, so I thought there was like a big headed like baby like decapitating somebody or something. It looked really odd, but now I see it. It's really cool. That's a cool cover.
All right.
I like the fingers that are coming off too. Like if you look further down, like at the bottom of the cover,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you can follow the arc of her sword, and it's got the neck, and I guess the hands were like this, and she's cut the fingers off.
That's
All right, cool. Lee, glad to hear it that you're done with the like. Awesome.
Robbie
right.
rocking out on channels.
So Robbie, what's the movie tonight? All right, so just so everybody knows, 9:00 Eastern, right?
It's Japanese horror.
Yes.
All right, well, what's the movie?
The movie we are discussing tonight is one of my favorites. It's from Takashi Miike, and it's Audition from 1999. That was the first Japanese horror movie I watched, and then that got me into like other things like Ringu and Ju-on and One Missed Call and all that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of his work, and Audition is such a good movie, and but not for the faint of heart though. So,
but remember to check out Wolf Boy with Sonny Chiba.
Yeah, I need to. You sold me on that one on Friday, man.
Well, I knew you were a Japanese cinema fan, and that one was it was weird. And again, as we were talking about, John, another werewolf movie that I didn't watch because of
you
werewolf.
watched it for Sonny Chiba,
yeah,
right?
because I was a huge Sonny Chiba fan in the 70s. He was all that. He was
the man.
Yeah, he was the man. So I watched the movie and I'm like, and he doesn't wolf out at all in the movie. He just has like the powers of a werewolf. It was really weird.
It's very cool. And I'll tell you right now, One Missed Call, you have to be fairly well adjusted because that movie is disturbing in the extreme. And you know what I mean? It's the level of disturbing is dialed real up. So I'll tell you right now, if you're one of those people that leave the theater and you're still thinking about the movie, I don't want to say don't watch the movie, but just know what you're getting into. This is the same warning I tell someone when I say, here, try this food, but it's really spicy. Like I'm giving you the warning now because I don't want people to check out One Missed Call and then we're just getting middle finger emojis.
And you're talking about the Japanese one too, like not the remake. Like yeah, exactly. It is same. Disturbing. Have you seen Audition, John? Because the end of that movie. You really need to watch it. That movie's awesome. I think you'd like it.
The movie I'm talking about. Robbie is doing Audition tonight, but the movie I'm talking about from that portfolio, from that genre, is One Missed Call. the Japanese version. They have like a American. It's
the same director. It's the same director too. So.
But all right. So Two Gun Pedro says he's going to watch the audition again before PCP Horror Fest movie review tonight.
Nice.
I have so much to catch up on, man. I got so much streaming to catch up on. I'm just like so.
You haven't seen WandaVision yet, have you?
Yeah, I saw.
Oh, did you?
Dude, I'm not like Robbie. I'm not months out. I mean, but I am.
What are you talking about? I'm caught up. What?
He's caught up. No, the person who's still.
Alec is never.
Alec is the
up.
person
who's
right. Still wondering how it had the Infinity War ends.
Yeah, I wonder if he's watched Hawkeye yet. I wonder if he's watched Hawkeye yet.
My friend, they got late. We're waiting for Christmas now.
Yeah, I know. Now at this point, you might as well just wait until Christmas.
Like, I got a month or so. It's for the people who play the shot game. I figured I'd throw this out real quick. And I don't know if we have a book that we're selling for this. This week on Wednesday, Dynamite will have Vampirella Mind Warp issue 2. And I got to tell you, this is the most fun Vampirella romp in a while. You know what I mean? This isn't part of the ongoing sort of unholy Dracula thing. This is just sort of like a fun romp is the best way. It's Jeff Parker, Benjamin Dewey. Some really good covers, cosplay covers usually. I grabbed the black and white cover by Jonathan Case. I don't know if...
Ed Weird, how far behind are you, Rex? Have you seen Little House on the Prairie?
When he finds out...
No, what's that, Ed Weird?
I'm going to hold this up in the camera real quick. Jonathan Case is one of these guys that we don't talk about all the time, but his work is just...
See, Mariano, that's how you do it.
I just love this cover, black and white cover. Talking about the name dropping right now.
All right, get your drinks out, people. The name dropping begins now.
While we're doing the show, I'm talking to writer Jeff Parker, artist Benjamin Dewey, and Jonathan Case. It started on Twitter, and then we moved it off to the back. They also just wanted to express thank you for the support. Thank you for the kind words for the book.
Right.
Jeff wanted me to throw that out there. These guys, yeah, it's a profession, but they really appreciate when Jeff in particular knows I've been a Vampirella fan for, almost 50 years since the character came out, 40 years thereabouts. So when people that really know the character, and Tom Stigowski said this as well, when people who
how many is that? 3 it is. That's 4. Right. Thank you for keeping it. What, 4?
It's 4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3,
Ben,
4.
Jonathan Case, and now Tom Stigowski and his wife Janine, or his writing partner Janine, who I talked to. They really appreciate the feedback from the longtime fans. I mean, obviously, you always want new fans, but when someone has read, 4 decades of the character, you have like a little bit more perspective. Mind Warp is probably one of the most fun things that's been done, and that includes Warren and Harris Publishing.
All right, we're up to 4 people. Just keep that in mind. Siren's 4 shots. For any new viewers, we play this game. Every time John drops the name, we take a shot.
See,
we don't, but really, you at home can do whatever you want.
We should. That would be a more fun show.
We wouldn't make it. We wouldn't make it to 7 o'clock.
We wouldn't make it out of the parking lot. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Abomination is a goal.
Let's do that one next. While since Mariano's got some
and John's
some
question, you know what, Siren's Gate. One of the things we don't really, that's above our pay grade, so to speak. I don't even have a pay grade, but one of the things that are above our sort of outsider is sales figures.
In terms of Dynamite,
Siren's Gate's amazing. Issue 1, to see a book painted at that level, it's very much got that sort of, Marvel's vibe where you've got a top level painter doing an entire book. I mean, there's not a lot of those books out there.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
All right, so unfortunately that is not my department. About all there is that in the legal lines you'll see my name in there on the covers, but that's about it. They don't talk to me about the sales numbers. All right, so let's do. Mariano's making some great progress on the Abomination, so let's do that one next. Thor's #1 blank variant signed with Abomination cover sketch by Joe Delbiato and Mariano Nicieza. Suggested retail $149.99, and we have the one available for $75. And Jay, when you get a chance, let's switch to the Mariano cam so we can see how it's coming along.
Yeah, Sean, you're right. We don't see a lot of things derivative in comics, not in a negative way, but it's just our Siren's Gate. Shannon's trying something new. And I think that, you definitely get points for that. I mean, comics have been produced in this country for 90-ish years in comic book form. We're almost at 100 years. Well, we're in 2022 and comics were out in 1939. So we're just about close to 90 years. You don't see a whole lot of new stuff. And what Shannon is doing with Siren's Gate, I think absolutely qualifies as new. That's just good. It's a great read, and the art is, yes, obviously it's an art-forward book. I mean, there's no...
Gotcha. All right. So then we, let's do a CGC graded. We have Detective Comics number 27, facsimile edition, CGC graded 9.8 guaranteed.
Before you said facsimile edition, I was just going to take this and go.
Yeah, I'd run all of you over and jump into my car and drive real fast.
Right.
Yeah, it should be on the screen. All right, so suggested retail of $99.99, guaranteed 9.8, and we have the one available for $75. All right, so Robbie, so you got that tonight. What do you see coming up this week? Anything interesting?
About what? Like comics or
new comic book day. I'm sorry.
What's going on in your neighborhood?
Yeah, what's going on in your hood, man?
Well, there's a barbecue going on at the rec center. But
how's the cat lady doing? She all right?
How's the cat lady doing? Man, you totally took me off of guard now. What's coming out this week? I have no idea.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Running the show.
I got one. There's something coming out I wanted to ask John about. It's like, is it Scarlet Sisters or something like that?
It's funny that you asked because I have a copy right here that I read right before we went on the air. This is very cool. This is Alex Segura. There's a bunch of different covers. The cover I snagged was the black and white pencil art by Alex Ross, because I'm selfish and I don't leave it for anyone else here in the store. I'm very, very sort of, I love these characters. These characters obviously come from, well, they have their own histories, but most recently they're seen in Project Superpowers. People who watch the show know I love Project Superpowers. This is a departure. I will say this. The characters are the same, but this is a departure from that massive kind of like overarching story that started 16, 17 years ago. We've had Project Superpowers, a few different versions of it. This is different. These are these three characters sort of stepping away from that on their own. And I'm a big fan of Masquerade or Lady Masquerade, depending on as it is, right?
Right.
I'm looking for big things out of this. I know a tiny little bit. Alex Segura was talking about it, I think, at New York Comic Con, what he's got going on.
How many names of drops is that?
Well, I didn't talk to him. I'm just saying he's the writer.
Wasn't sure. I mean,
he's the writer of the book on records.
Yes, that is an excellent way to segue into it, Jay. So next up, we got Scarlet Sisters number 1, Joseph Michael Linsner Virgin cover. It's just retail of $50. We have the one available for $40.
There are very few covers that I will select over a Joseph Michael Linsner cover. Very few, but Alex Ross is one of them.
That's understandable.
All right.
I hope. That was,
Backhanded compliment again.
Well, no. Joseph Michael Linsner is like a foundation. He's like a pillar artist here, right? His stuff is in the walls. When you walk down to the, when you walk down the rafters, his stuff is all along the walls and stuff like that.
All right, Albert Langford, thanks for joining us, man. All right, here's an interesting question. So Albert's asking, what do you guys think about this new Action Comics format coming up? I think it's bogus.
Okay.
I hate it. I hate it so much. I think it's penalizing the readership that's grown on that book. So Action Comics by Philip Kennedy Johnson and other and a ton of artists has been doing this really cool, interesting kind of fantasy sci-fi approach with Superman. He's been on Warworld. They've told this long story. Now he's coming back to Earth, and they've made some exciting announcements for their Superman books, some new costumes, some new designs, things like that. And then all of a sudden, they announced that Action Comics, which is garnered and solidified a positive readership, has decided they're going to add 3 additional stories to it or something. Make it an anthology book like Batman Urban Legends, which is like an $8 comic. So you're basically telling people that have been collecting Action Comics, and you know a lot of Superman fans have been collecting this stuff for decades, that all of a sudden, for nobody asked for it, but we're adding more stories by other people with other characters, and we're boosting up the price. I think that's kind of, come on, man. Come on. That's a flagship book, man.
I'll be the first to say it. A lot of times people are like, oh, you don't want to badmouth. I'll badmouth it. That's terrible. Action Comics has been through this route before, where Action Comics is the Superman comic. Stop putting other stuff in there. All you do is irritate people. And eventually, we always know it never works. It absolutely never works in the long term. So it's sort of like, we'll throw this out there. Now, I don't know if it's because they have to reduce the workload of the creative team. Maybe I can... but this is a book where, I mean, there was a time where people didn't even want to read Action Comics, right? You had Superman, Man of Tomorrow, Man of Steel. You had all these other Superman books. Action Comics got forgotten. Once again, Action Comics is sort of, ascended. People have almost said it's almost like a version of it's like a Superman version of the Odyssey. You've got this long thing where he's out in space, and now he's returning home to his family, blah, blah, blah. So wait a minute. I've been with you for all this time, and now you're going to give me the next segment in 6 pages at a time instead of 22? Unless there's some sort of, God forbid, health issue or something within the creative team, this is a terrible idea.
Well, they're still going to have like a 20 or 22 page story in there, but then there's going to be like a 10 pager, and there's going to be an 8 pager and another 20 pager. That's how they're doing Batman Urban Legends.
But you're going to have to pay for that. That's the problem.
Exactly. And like one of them's a Power Girl story. And like, what if you don't care about Power Girl? Or what if you don't like this version of the Power? It's just, I think it's kind of shady to be like, we got a success right now. People are liking this book. Let's increase the value. They also know that people collect Action Comics. They got this unbroken run. You know what I'm saying? For decades. Yeah. That's just, I don't know, man. At the time, though, they've kind of done things like this with it before, right? They used to do those random 100-page giant issues, and then, but totally changing the format like this in the midst of a successful run is, I don't know, man.
Action Comics format changed when it was not on successful runs, when they were just kind of like rehashing Superman stories. Remember, there was a time where a Superman story was told. Week 1, it was told in Action Comics. Week 2, it was told in Superman. Week 3, it was in Man of Tomorrow or Man of Steel. And week 4 was, I'm going to say Adventures of Superman, but I might sort of have the order along a little bit. But so in order to get one story, you had to buy all 4 books. Right? So they've done stuff with Action Comics before. And everybody remembers the Action Comics were like Black Canary and her horrible headband outfit is on the cover.
Action Comics Weekly, when it went weekly and it would alternate the cast.
People have been collecting, like you said, people have been collecting this book for decades. There are guys older than me, and that's saying something, that have huge runs of Action Comics. And now, you know what I mean? At this point, now the book is going to be $8 a month, maybe more?
So, and Weird has another interesting question.
Sure.
What do you guys think of DC Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths number 5 card variants? They have perforated trading cards on the cover. You have to destroy the cover if you want the cards.
Yeah, I've seen them. I mean, obviously we have them. There are 2 different ones for the latest issue, and I had very little faith that there would be high interest in those, so I ordered very light on that particular variant, and I have not sold very many, so it looks like I made the wise choice there. So
I think the gut reaction from the casual reader is this is a cash grab, right? From the retailer perspective, like Robbie, he's got to sort of do like the Magic 8-Ball thing. How, what's my gut reaction to this? Not every retailer, and they probably should, but not every retailer has Robbie's experience with comics, wherewithal, especially if it's a younger owner or a less experienced owner. Oh, I better get these. They're collectible. I tend to side with the casual, more caustic side of this. This is a cash grab. They know people are going to buy 2 copies.
I think the idea came from, believe it or not,
coming from the 90s, that's bad flashbacks.
Well, not exactly the 90s, but at the turn of the millennium. And ironically, it involves Sports Illustrated for Kids and LeBron James. I don't know, Robbie, if you know what I'm talking about here.
No, I don't.
Well,
most of us don't.
Give me those books. SI for Kids printed an issue, And inside the issue, they had a whole bunch of stuff. They had the perforated cards, but instead of it being on the cover, it was inserted. And there were two types. There were Disney perforated cards, which were, so nobody was really chasing.
Yeah.
I'm sure kids ripped them out of the book. But the key was they had rookie sports figures there. And they had the two important cards on that sheet. So it was a 9-card sheet inserted into the magazine, was Maria Sharapova and LeBron James.
Oh, wow.
So those issues flew off the shelves because everybody was chasing. Obviously, LeBron James won, but Sharapova as well. So, that's where the concept came from. But again, that was tied into the value of the cards, obviously. So if they don't have anything really great on that cover, yeah, Sean, he definitely is. Hey, Mariano, you want to hold that up for a little bit for the Mariano cam so they can see it?
And can I throw my 2 cents into the Action Comics conversation?
Yeah, can you center it a little bit, though, while you're throwing it? That's the other way. There you go.
And for people that are going to ask, yes, I absolutely think that's the appropriate shade of green for me.
It's a base color. We're starting with a base
color. It's not
color.
done yet.
You're done.
Come on, I already learned it.
Right.
I already learned it. Dude, pay attention in class, bro.
Right, so Action Comics, here's what's going on. Because I've been in these meetings and I know just based on the conversation I've heard so far, I know exactly what's going on. So that was a popular title with a high readership. Now, any of the supporting characters that you just mentioned, Power Girl or any of these other storylines that are going to go, if those were launched as individual comics, would they succeed?
Yeah.
No.
They're trying to use it as a vehicle.
So they're using it as a vehicle to test or market new characters, and at the expense of the readers who are now going to have to pay much more money to support this initiative. But that's why they're doing it. They're doing it because it's a popular book with a built-in audience, and they figure they're just going to throw more stuff out.
Right. Yeah. All right. So,
and I don't agree with it. I don't think it's a good idea, but I just know
you understand the logic.
I understand exactly what's going on.
All right. So what you're looking at on the Mariano cam is Thor's #1 blank variant signed with Abomination cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nunziesa. So this was a crazy idea we had. So Joe is doing the pencils and the inks, and then Mariano comes on the air with us to do the coloring. So it's been kind of really cool. So this one has suggested retail of $149.99. We have the one available for $75. All right, and we got to go to our last and final break. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll get through the rest of the books, and Mariano should be done. And I don't imagine the Abomination cover sketch is going to be around for very long.
Yeah, I don't.
It's really cool. It's an approved John Green.
It's not finished yet, I was told.
All right, so stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crib. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectables.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales.
Get the inside scoop on everything happening at the experience every week. Join our mailing list by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen and then watching your email inbox.
They're never going to be open in time for that.
All right,
We are
so
back.
it's time for the Rex Cap, as requested by John Spilios. All right, here we go. So, as always, we have the Dynamite 10-pack reader set. Suggested retail of $40, $3.99 cover price or higher. And as always, a thank you to our viewers. We have it for $5. Then we had Venom, the End, #1, signed in silver by Raza. Suggested retail of $69.99, and it is #2 of 20 signed in silver, and is one of our 5-star $50 books. Then we had Nightwing #13, signed in gold by Tom DeFalco. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is probably one of the big bargains of the night. $19.41. It is 2 of 10 signed in gold. And then we had Sheena, Queen of the Jungle #1, signed in gold by J. Scott Campbell. Suggested retail of $89.99. And it is one of our best offer books of the night, starting at $50. And just for the new viewers out there, our best offers end at $7.55. And then we'll throw an end line up. And our producer, Jay, will throw a clock up as we approach 2 minutes. Then we had Batman and Robin, #38, signed in gold by Peter Tomasi. Suggested retail of $89.99. And we have one available, number 73 to 75, signed in gold for $27. And then we had The Walking Dead #150, variant cover C by Jason Latour, ultra limited blood red signature edition, signed by Stefano Guadiano. Suggested retail of $59.99. It is we have one available, number 30 of 50, for $30. Then we had Solar Man of the Atom #1, signed in gold by Frank Barbieri. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is a best offer book, and Preston is currently in the lead at $10.
John bids on Sheena.
All right, John, you got it, buddy. Hold on, I got to go back. Sheena and John Spilios. You got it, buddy.
Oh, Robinson, you're right. I agree with you. The way the market is now, DC and Marvel should really not be putting out anything that's not, people are looking for this book. This isn't the time to, let's try Jackal Hearts again. No.
All right, so Jay, do not throw the black and white image up. We'll have Mariana do his best impression of Vanna White. We're going to do Thor's #1. Blank variant, signed with Abomination cover, currently being colored by Mariano. Wow. Cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza. Suggested retail of $149.99, and we have the one available for $75.
Looking good.
Can I say that I saw Tom DeFalco on Friday?
For the trade?
Yeah, so Mariano saw Tom DeFalco on what day?
Friday.
So that makes
Also,
5
every
people.
time we mention
Trying to save
somebody
everybody trying to save everybody's liver, so we're spacing it out.
So, and I did it in honor of the book that we're selling you, that he signed in gold.
Oh, there you go.
There's a connection there. It wasn't just random.
He's making that up because I didn't actually.
No, we do segues all the time.
Well, I didn't actually show him the
the
list. So then we had Detective Comics #27, facsimile edition, CGC graded 9.8, suggested retail of $99.99. And we have one available for $75. Then we had, two more best offer books. Red Sonja Halloween Special, limited metal cover edition. It's one of our premium metal covers. Suggested retail of $100. And it is a best offer starting at $50. And Ed Weird is currently in the lead at $50. Ron, you didn't. I'm going to get to those as soon as I'm done with the Rex Cap, buddy. Betty Page Halloween Special, limited metal cover edition, suggested retail of $100.
There's a lot of Dave Stevens energy in this cover,
and it is a best offer book. And Ed Weird is also in the lead on that at $50.
There's a dirty joke in that cover.
Say again.
There's a dirty joke in that cover if you look hard enough. If you think about it. Anyway, sorry.
All
Should have
right.
pointed that out.
You have to clue us in a minute. So Scar.
You have to be clued in.
I'll claim the Hazer Amazing Fantasy 15. You can wish whatever you want, my buddy. All right, so then we had Scarlet Sisters #1, Joseph Michael Linsner virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40. I got you, weird. Yeah, okay, Robbie, shame on you, buddy. What would your mother say?
See, that's why I didn't make the cover, and also look at the face. Look at the face on that particular pumpkin compared to the others. That's all I'm saying. It's a different look.
That's a happy pumpkin, man.
Yep.
So then we've got. All right, and then we have the special item of the night, God Woke, with 4 creator signatures, Fabian Nicieza. It is a hardcover with a different colored art on the front of each one. And it is signed by Fabian Nicieza, Wilson Ramos Jr., Frank Lovecchi, and Mariano Nicieza, with a special tip-on hand-colored cover art by Mariano. Suggested retail of $100. If we have a show special price at $75. If you buy anything else in the show, you get the book for $50. All right, so let's get to the other CCAs. I know
one question. I just want to throw this out there. Not a question. I want to throw this out there real quick. We have people that watch on Twitter. We've told people if you watch on Twitter, you're kind of not, you're like on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
There are people that they just prefer watching on Twitter, and that's fine. We love you guys. If you decide you want to bid on something or whatever, it's kind of problematic for you to do it in real time.
Yeah.
2 people that have watched this show for a while, they follow me on Twitter, Joker12 and Eater Ernie. They're fascinated with my T-shirts. I don't know why. Probably because we talk about T-shirts a lot on Twitter, like off the show. The shirt I am wearing, some people might recognize the logo. It's Speed Racer. However, this shirt is not a Speed Racer shirt. This is for people that are a little bit more familiar with the Japanese version of this. This is a Mifune Motors shirt. Japanese logo up here, which basically says "Adventures waiting just ahead."
All right.
That's like the logo for buying the car. You can get these shirts at TeePublic or whatever. But I can't stress this enough. If you want to be like the full experience, no pun intended, join us on Facebook or YouTube.
I would have to agree with
you know what I mean?
And we'll have the T-shirt that John's wearing right now. It'll be a best offer item starting at 50 cents.
Nobody wants that.
At 50 cents. If I can't sell it, man, I should get a new job. All right. So all right. So the CCAs, the last 2. Suicide Squad #1, blank variant signed and with commission cover art by Ken Hazer with a Peacemaker sketch. Suggested retail $99.99, and we have one available for $50.
Very cool.
Does this just automatically go to Ron, or do they have to fight for it?
They have to fight for it.
Do you really want to taste it? Right? What a great show.
The Ron gallery is pretty. There's a pretty big Ken Hazer wing in there.
So all right. So then we have another one, Suicide Squad #1, blank variant signed with commission cover art by Ken Hazer with a vigilante sketch. Suggested retail of $99.99, and we have this one available as well.
This vigilante one really. Wow, this is
amazing.
That is whoo.
The design on that's really cool, man. That's
the design on that is Ken has talked about it. He digs Peacemaker like the show.
Oh, who doesn't?
He really digs the show, so he really had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, his work is just unbelievable. All right, so those are the final 2 sketch covers of the night.
And Ken asked us too to he'll be on the show at some point, but he frequently asks that. He wants to express his gratitude. He knows we talk about his work on the show a lot. The fans, collecting. Ronald's taking.
You got it, Ron.
He really appreciates that level of support. It's one thing when you do a comic and then 3 months, 4 months, 6 months later, it appears on the shelves. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of times Ken gets that feedback from I'll say delayed real time. You know what I mean? We get the books, we put them on the air. He can see and hear the comments. We talk about it. Ken has some other work too. I'd suggest go check out pretty much anything Ken does. You know what I mean? I haven't seen anything that he does that I haven't liked.
All right, looks like Abomination may be done.
Almost. Work on
Never
the
mind.
nails.
I lied.
Work on the nails. We're close.
I lied.
You can't rush this level of genius.
Close.
All right. So you know what? Let's get to the rest of the books of the
I
night.
bet if there's an anchovy pizza coming, those nails would be done in a heartbeat.
You know, I'm missing the pizza here. I'm really missing the pizza.
No problem, Ed Weird. I know. You know, Ken's stuff is amazing. All right. So let's see. All right. So then we had Suicide Squad #1 Dynamic Forces exclusive cover by Terry Dodson. This is a CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. And we have suggested retail of $89.99. We have the one available for $69.99.
Preston, you're right. The Peacemaker CCA was very, very good. There was no, but the Vigilante one just jumped
Something about
off
it.
the page.
It just pops.
Yeah.
All right. So then get through the last 3 books. We had Vampirella, Mind Warp #2, Lee Ricks Lee, Ultraviolet Virgin cover. I love these UV covers.
The UV covers are just
Suggested retail of $50, and we have the one available for $40.
Nice collar.
Oh.
Then we had the Ninjets #2, Jonathan Lau Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have the one available for $40.
This is a great book, man. I tell people right now, I don't know how many people are reading this book, but this is a great book. This is like an expansion of the Jennifer Blood universe. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. Jennifer Blood is a streaming show waiting to happen. The idea, the stuff, I'll tell you right now, Hulu, Showtime, somebody get a hold of Fred Van Landy, get a hold of Nick, sit down, talk, work this out, figure out how to make this work. Because Jennifer Blood is Jennifer Blood is a show that I would pay a streaming service for if that was the only thing I watched.
Right. All right. So the last book of the night, 007 #3, Tommy Lee Edwards Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one for $40.
I signed a black and white version of that.
That's a sharp cover.
It's a really sharp. I like this. What I like about it is if you look at the black and white cover, it looks like it's nighttime, and if you look at the colored cover, it's clearly still daylight.
All right. And then just to go back to the CCAs, make sure everybody had a chance to see them. Again, Mariano is currently finishing up on Thor's #1, blank variant, signed with Abomination, cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza. Suggested retail of $149.99. We have the one available for $75. Mark, can you hold that up again?
No.
He's working on it.
No.
And on the Mariano cam. That's right. Yeah. Keep dodging, ducking and dodging, ducking and dodging.
This thing continues to just get better and better and better.
All right. So that is available for $75. And then, of course,
it's crazy. It's half price.
Suicide Squad #1, blank variant, signed with commission cover art by Ken Hazer with a Peacemaker sketch. Suggested retail of $99.99. And we have the one available for $50.
You don't have the Vigilante sketch, do you, sir?
I do not.
That and the funny thing is, this is a very cool CCA. We're not trying to, pretend that it's not, but something about the Vigilante one just, it had a lot of impact.
So, Jay, let's throw up the John sandwich, my friend.
Oh.
This is the new John Cole, Bakery nearest Baggio's, not too far away from here.
Somebody had a...
Bang. He sends this to me at
when
lunchtime.
Yep.
Yep.
Just when I'm hungry.
Well, you might as well suffer like I suffered on Saturday.
That's chicken cutlet, fresh mozzarella that they make
What's
in the
sauce?
Store. The sauce is a spicy vodka sauce. Their vodka sauce is spiked with cherry pepper. And then there's roasted red and cherry peppers on the sandwich, too, on their bread, which they've won, I think, 3 years in a row, they've won best bread in South Jersey.
So, Lee, if you're still watching, this is how we roll, man. You enjoy the food talk? How about that? Be careful, Preston.
Preston, there are 3 very thick slices of fresh mozzarella on there. If you put too much cheese on the sandwich, it really sort of dials the flavor down. It took us a while to get it right to balance the heat in the vodka sauce and the fresh mozzarella, because their fresh mozzarella is very good.
So, Mariana. All right. So I'm just going to go through best offers real quick, and then we'll answer your question, Creative. So, again, the best offers are Sheena Queen of the Jungle #1, signed in gold by J. Scott Campbell. Suggested retail of $89.99. Best offer book with John Spilios in the lead at $50. Solar Man of the Atom #1, signed in gold by Frank Barbieri. Suggested retail of $89.99, and Preston is it's the best offer book, and Preston is in the lead at 10.
Let me just interrupt you real quick. Ron said if no one is claiming it, he's going to take the Peacemaker CCA. Ron's kind of giving people a chance here.
Yeah, I understand that.
This is, if nobody else is going to claim it, this is going to go to him.
Ron, I'm gonna pencil you in since we're getting to the end of the evening.
Yeah,
all right. So then we had Red Sonja Halloween Special Limited Metal Cover Edition. Suggested retail of 100 is the best offer book, and Weird is in the lead at 50. Then we had Betty Page Halloween Special Limited Metal Cover Edition. Suggested retail of 100 and is the best offer book, and Ed Weird is also in the lead on that at 50. And then
what's this?
Mariano, Creative Keep actually has a question for you.
All right, Creative Keep, I'm with you. Now you've got my complete attention.
And I actually have a question that might be directly to Creative Keep's question. Jack Kirby, it's rumored, was always affected by
Mariano Cam.
It is the Mariano Cam.
Yeah, but if they've had a few shots already, then the Mariano Cam is going to be a real problem.
Yikes.
All right, so, Mariano, can you see Creative Keep's question?
I cannot. I don't have my glasses.
Can you review the storyline for God Woke? And I have a kind of like a follow-up or parallel question to that. The rumor was Jack Kirby was massively influenced by Chariot of the Gods. And that's where a lot of this sort of life here began out there, to paraphrase Battlestar Galactica in the beginning. And now I'm looking at God Woke, and I'm wondering if that vibe of Eric Van Daniken vibe sort of affected Stan, encouraged, maybe even influenced what Stan did with God Woke, because somewhat similar sort of.
I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know.
Okay.
So the poem God Woke is essentially an analysis of humanity. God woke, God wakes up, and he looks down on Earth and where we are and what's going on. And it's very much in the line of Silver Surfer, when Stanley was writing Silver Surfer, and those observations that can only be done by an alien looking down. So in this case, the entity is God looking down. And it's, I don't want to say too much about it, but it's touching. There are a lot of emotional strings in what he wrote. As far as Jack Kirby, and I'm going to say that he did the series Eternals, and that series was Chariot of the Gods. If Jack Kirby was influenced by anything and put it out there for us, it's the Eternals.
Well, I did it backwards. I mean, obviously, I'm a comic book reader, and then I was at a con, and this was a long time ago. I was at a con in Chicago, and someone was talking about the Kirbyverse and its influence of Eric Van Daniken. And of course, I thought that was a comic book writer I was unfamiliar with. I looked into it, I find out what Chariot of the Gods is, and I read it. I read the first book. And I don't know how true it is, but I understand, I'll put it this way, I understand where the belief comes from.
Right.
Because if you read the book, I mean, I don't know how many people out there listen read it. If you read the book, there's this idea of, and they said it best in Battlestar, the original Battlestar Galactica. Life here on this planet begins out there. Somebody comes and there's this visitation. And we've seen this with the Celestials. We've seen it a little bit with the New Gods, the fourth world idea. This idea that they're divine, and of course today it's really used with Thor, whereas Asgardians are essentially space Vikings. They're gods in quotes, like lower G.
Right.
Another good kind of Kirby influence probably on that would be 2001: A Space Odyssey, which he did the graphic novel for. But that's kind of the idea there too, is that intelligent form of life, tweaked evolution in other places.
Yeah,
and then he took it into what turned into an anthology series. 2001.
Where we got Machine Man from.
Right, and it ultimately created Machine Man as one of the stories that spun off.
We had the Eternals, the Inhumans to a certain extent. Is this idea again where, the Kree get here and there's cavemen and they sort of start messing around a little bit, and, you fast forward and you've got Black Bolt. And I think that as
Stargate.
What?
Stargate.
I mean, I think that's an idea that comes from, I don't know the exact publishing date of Chariot of the Gods, but, you look the last 5 or 6 decades since that was published.
68.
That is a fairly prevalent idea
Yes,
that creators still use.
Right.
I mean,
I'll say that Phaser Universe, what I'm doing in that book, has influences from Chariot of the Gods. So it's everywhere.
well, I would say if anyone's going to influence anything, apparently there are people, and I don't want to disrespect anyone's beliefs, but apparently
here comes the disrespect.
No. There are people who treat Chariot of the Gods almost like it's a religious text.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, not being an Eric Van Daniken expert, I'm not sure how he intended that book. There are also people that use L. Ron Hubbard's writings as a religious sort of thing.
Yeah, well, he was.
Well, I mean, he created a religion.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I didn't get the impression from reading the original Chariot of the Gods that book was meant to be a Bible.
Well, that's that whole ancient alien culture now, right? Like that show is one of the most successful shows History Channel's ever had.
Yeah, ancient aliens, yeah.
Yeah. The people that are on that show are disciples or folks that have studied under
He was on some of the early seasons, I know for sure. So I don't know if he still is. I haven't watched one in a while. I love watching Ancient Aliens. They're just fun.
Yeah, it's a
They're
fun
just
show.
fun ideas.
Yeah, somebody just mentioned it. Stan Lee Presents was a DC thing they did where he did takes on Superman and Batman, reimagined or whatever they were.
Characters.
Yeah, just imagine. They're doing a one shot to celebrate that, where a bunch of creators are coming in to revisit those characters in honor of his birthday coming up.
All right, so Creative Keep's got another question from Mariana. Are you strictly left-handed, or do you illustrate, draw, write with both?
I am left-handed.
It depends on the deadline, right?
And when I type, it's usually the one finger typing, and it's my left hand.
And it's loud. He bangs the keyboard. It's very aggressive.
I have so much respect for people that can type. Like, my entire
Did you have
life.
typing in high school?
That's it.
No,
If
you know what I had in
typing
high school?
then that's how you learn to type.
Yeah, I didn't take typing in high school. You know what I got to take?
What?
Home ec.
Home ec.
Oh, well, that kind of makes sense, actually.
That was the easiest A I ever got. Some lady trying to explain to me how to fry an egg.
Maybe, but
near the end of the year, the woman went to a party that my father catered, and she recognized her name, and she looks at me and she didn't say anything. She gave me my A. She said to me, your family caters, don't they? I said, yeah. She's like, have I taught you anything? I said, how to keep a journal.
Mariano, Jay threw up the Apex Comics link, and so he's asking, is Apex Comics Group the right link for Phaser Universe?
Yes, that's a website that I've got that has a lot of Phaser Universe and a bunch of other characters. That
All right, so Creative Keep is claiming a God Woke as well. You got it, Creative Keep. I got you down, buddy.
This is a great idea, though. Taking a poem, essentially.
I think I'm going to do remarks on all the purchases that were made tonight.
Look at you.
I think that's the right thing to do. So everybody gets a remark piece. Inside.
Mariana was playing the drinking game, so we'll wait until tomorrow morning before we.
We mentioned quite a few famous people. We'll get that call in the morning. Wait, I agreed to do what? I'm busy. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, well, that was pretty sexist. I took typing, and I'll never forget. I thought it'd be an easy A. We all did. Man, this woman was just like a
typing was a tough course.
I didn't think it'd be that tough.
No, it was tough.
Then I walked in there, and we've got manual computers.
Teacher.
Okay, our computers, manual typewriters. Yeah. You remember? With the thing, if you didn't hit it hard enough, the little arm didn't come up. Oh,
I'll tell you right now, typing teachers.
Ron, Mariano just said everyone's going to get one.
Typing teachers have to be a vicious and violent group because my mother taught typing for decades.
And there was a timer.
Oh, no.
Okay. And then she had one of those piano timers.
I'll tell you right
here now.
Yeah, but it's not making it like if you don't make it to 40 words per minute, you fail this class. I was like, what?
There's a girl who made my high school life easier, and she never knew I existed. In our high school, boys took shop, and girls took home ec.
That's what Preston was saying.
That was the kind of the generation. This girl, her name's Patty Vitone, who I understand is like a realtor now down in our hometown of Long Beach Island.
Sheldon.
She wanted to take shop. And she was upset, why can't I take shop? And her family made a big deal out of it at a town meeting. And the Board of Education said, you cannot deny her because she's a girl. Right. The second she did that, everybody was happy. They had like a little assembly or whatever to talk about it, that there were no more gender assignments. And of course, 1 million girls took shop, which made all the guys that were taking shop really happy. I, on the other hand, walked out to the back and was the first guy
smarter
in a home ec class.
Your move was much smarter.
Yeah. And everybody was like, home ec, we sat down and everyone looked like, why is there a boy in here? And I'm thinking, I need an easy A.
I have to be honest with you. What ended up happening many, many years later, as my daughter was, I don't know, she's 22 now. I guess it was about 10 years ago. She noticed that I could type and not look at my fingers.
Yeah, see, that's like supernatural.
All right, because I mean, I corporal punishment wasn't okay back then. I think I was in the 8th grade. But I have no doubt that this woman, if she saw you looking at your fingers, she would have smacked you over the head with a yardstick. No, it was not, but it's about as close as it gets. So you learn to, and you had the little easel thing that you held your paper up with, and you're typing this nonsensical stuff, and I remember 2 pages, and you could only have 2 mistakes. That was it. Otherwise, you fail for the day. Oh my God, she was such a slave driver. Oh my Lord! I had algebra.
Been traumatized too much.
He is traumatized.
Like 40 years ago.
I feel like you think he's asleep on his couch, flinching around.
He has typing nightmares.
Algebra wasn't that hard, man. My algebra teacher was pretty cool, actually.
All work and no play makes Rex a dull boy.
Ooh, dog.
1,000 times.
I bet The Shining really unnerves you, Rex.
Why does he keep typing? Shut it off.
Oh,
I'm surprised The Shining actually was not, to bring this thing full circle, what we started talking about in the beginning, when Robbie threw that out on Facebook yesterday, I'm surprised The Shining was not mentioned more in terms of scary movies. The Thing got a lot of love. Halloween got a lot of love.
I thought I had The Shining on my list.
And a few people threw out some like older or like sentimental stuff, where in my case, I preferred the original version. I love The Thing from John Carpenter, don't get me wrong. My sentimental favorite is The Thing from 1951. But I'm surprised The Shining was not mentioned more on that page.
Let me say this. If you live or you're planning to visit, and Weird, let me make sure. I believe you won them both.
I think you won them both, man. Everyone's got like a nice, you got a nice package.
If you live in or around or planning to travel to the Denver Boulder area, okay, I strongly suggest right before the entrance to the Grand Canyon National Park is the Stanley Hotel. And the Stanley Hotel was actually...
Is that the Overlook Hotel, the real...
Yeah, the real hotel. And it was a very interesting story. It's a great tour. We took it in the middle of the day because it was a last-minute thing. But my daughter and I went. It was a fantastic tour. And that was the inspiration. The story is that Stephen King and his wife were trying to drive back to Boulder. And at this point, the Stanley Hotel was in big, big trouble. Long history on the hotel.
Yeah, it was
it was in big, big trouble. And they were driving back, and there was a snowstorm. Any of this sound familiar?
Yeah.
The inspiration. So they stayed there, and they only had a handful of staff left because they were closing for the season. So they let the Stephen King and his wife stay there, and it was just them, a handful of staff. The bartender was there, one of the staff members staying there. And just somewhere out there, bang, okay, Stephen King gets inspiration from this and writes The Shining.
You think he sat in the big room and typed?
I don't know. But
I'm gonna bang this out real
But there's
quick.
all kinds of weird stuff about that place. But they didn't actually shoot the movie there. Now, it wasn't spooky per se. It was interesting because we went in the middle of the day.
Something in California, right?
Yeah, it was not shot at the Stanley Hotel.
I think it was at Pinewood Studios is where they shot it.
I think you're right. But it was a phenomenal tour. It just wasn't spooky because of The Shining, this hotel books out, man. Every room was sold out because my daughter and I actually considered it was a long drive from where we were staying. I'm like, if they have a room, let's spend the night here. This is so super cool, right? And they said, oh, we're sold out for like the next month. And I'm like, oh, well, so much for that plan.
My wife was in Denver.
Yes, they take you to the basement. They take you to a wine
Yeah.
cellar, which was kind of spooky. They take you. I mean,
The wine cellars. My wife went. I did not go. My wife and her company were there. They had some kind of thing.
So cool.
They took the tour.
Yeah.
And she regretted. My wife loves these kind of ghost hunter chaser. We go to a city, she has to take the ghost tour. This one she really regretted taking because this one I guess hit hard.
Oh yeah.
Like she went to Asheville a couple weeks ago. They took a ghost tour. Oh, an old lady died here. Okay, fine. Old lady dies everywhere. It's country's 200 years
I'll
old.
never forget that.
But
I mean,
apparently this tour was like.
Was it the mirror that had red rum? I don't remember now.
The door.
No, the door had red rum.
And he saw it in the mirror.
No. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. I will tell you one thing weird about this place. It was built by the person who invented, celluloid film, and then sold it to Eastman, made $1 bajillion. Then he got tuberculosis and had to move to a high altitude to survive. Right. So it's a very fast. If you ever get a chance, I highly recommend it. It was an impromptu. We couldn't get into Grand Canyon National Park. We went to the visitor center. A guy tells me the line of cars to get in, it's an hour.
It's an hour. I'm not doing that. I appreciate those people that are honest at any of these kinds of things. If I got to wait an hour, let me know. Yeah, I'll come back another day.
We were like, well,
this was an hour of my life.
This was our one free day. So then my daughter's, because when you drive there, it's just sitting there overlooking right up on the mountain, and you have to drive up that road to get to the entrance to Grand Canyon National Park. And it was just phenomenal. You could just see it there. So she goes, why don't we go there? Right. And we knew what it was because, obviously I had signs all over the place before you get there. And I'm like, yeah, what the heck? We got nothing better to do.
When my wife was there a couple of years ago, she said they didn't let the cars go up for the tour. Like you met in like a rally point and then a shuttle takes you up. That they run, like they don't want like a million cars up there.
We were able to park there, and then go and register. But you got guests coming in and out all the time. I mean, that part of it wasn't quite as spooky because the place was sold out for the next month. I mean, my God.
Creative Keep. Two things with Creative Keep. First of all, I've been to the Winchester Mansion. I had an extended stay at a con I went to a few years ago, not Comic-Con, but I was there, and somebody said, "Let's go see this thing," and it was a drive. But the Winchester Mansion, that's like disturbing in the extreme. And I understand they did a movie a few years later called Winchester that kind of talks about this. Yeah, that's a place.
Oh, man, we got to wrap up. We're over time.
Yeah, too.
Robbie's got stuff to do.
Sorry,
Robbie,
man.
No, I just saw Jay let us know in the chat.
Hey, Robbie,
sorry,
if you're ever there, that's a tour you need to take, being the horror fan you are.
Yeah.
Most definitely. All right, so sorry, guys, we're a little bit over time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mariano, John, Robbie, Jay,
Creative
for pushing
Keep.
the
I'll
buttons.
let Mariano know what you said. Good night, everybody. Thanks.
We'll see everybody Wednesday.
Whoever's next.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.